Hello everyone, my name's Tegh. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Live Building Systems. Live Building is a company that makes an environmental impact, and we'd like to share with you how we became this company, why, and on that journey of environmental impact, environmental justice, and climate action, why we felt this was so important. So here we are, we're in Seacliff, Long Island. It's a beautiful day. If you heard already, probably heard some of the Blue Jays. And I'm the co-founder, and I guess the story starts a little bit with my story as well. So as a young person, as an Indian American, specifically Punjabi, my family always wanted me to go into medicine. And my mother, my father, my brother, you name it, they're all doctors. And for me, too, to become a doctor was a special thing, and I did. And I went on to practice surgery at the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, and it was a great honor. And I loved it, and you couldn't get me out of the OR. I loved the impact it made in helping people. But when I came back to New York, and I worked with a good friend, and this was, during a transition, I kind of, it was a great summer, and we were having a lot of fun before residency, etc. But really, what I started to understand was kind of what was going on about sustainability, climate change, and kind of the environment. Now, I grew up in a family of people that kind of cared about the environment, which is extremely odd. My father, he was also from India, lived an interesting life. My mother as well, but we cared about the environment. We cared about animals. We cared about conservation. I remember the anti-littering campaigns of the '80s. I remember when recycling came in. Some of those early memories kind of, I think they guided some of the DNA of my company in founding it with my co-founders, with where we got to eventually. Specifically things like, I'm a fisherman. If anyone knows Long Island, people love striped bass. But back in the day, striped bass were really limited. So you couldn't keep striped bass above a certain size. And when I used to fish, and it was a pretty tough period of time, you couldn't catch too many fish. And I used to want to keep the smaller ones, but we didn't. And the reason being was that if we could put back one fish, that could lead to a lot more fish. And if a few other people acted in, that kind of decision or behavior, we could actually start making an impact. And that's something that we kind of call the power of youth, the power of people to actually make an impact. And I was a kid, I didn't realize at that time what it kind of meant, but now I really do. So when, you flash forward kind of to now, and you start thinking about the environment, and you start thinking about sustainability and climate change, and how hard it is to make change. How hard it is to turn off an air conditioner when it's 98 degrees outside and you're in a New York City apartment. How hard it is for people not to use plastic bags or plastic cups. And I looked at that problem, and it started in the building industry. That's where my firm was born, the multifamily concrete jungle of New York. And I started to realize that, hey, these people are just operating without any information. There wasn't, real-time data. There was no real software system that made it understandable. There were some, but not too many. So as a child of the 1980s, and someone that used an Apple IIe computer and went through all that, and then the revolution of Microsoft and Steve Jobs and the iPhones that we all know and love, I said, well, what if we take some technology and software and we make things simple? What if we make it easy to understand that you don't need an engineering degree? You don't need to be a climate, scientist. You could be a regular person. You could be, the person in the West Village going to the bar. You could be a person in Chicago or the Midwest or Florida, anywhere, to understand sustainability. And what if we could make that technology talk in real time to its actual end user? Do we have something there? And as I went through the journey of learning about the problem and the climate change and the environment, and actually learning even deeper that buildings actually had to do with 38% of carbon emissions, and that we people actually emit 16 pounds of metric tons of carbon, and learning that we didn't have a unified solution, I started to really dig into the software and to really dig into the individual user. So what we created was that simple software a tool for everybody that would talk to everybody and make sustainability in the environment something tangible that we could do something about together, not separate, but together. And I think that you'll enjoy maybe hearing about how many gallons of water we save, actually what the carbon footprint of a gallon of water is, because there is one. A lot of people don't, people turn on the tap of water, they think it's free. No, that water, that gallon of water produces and gets to you with a lot of CO2 output. And, all these type of metrics that you could actually do something to help the environment. And that's what we believe. We believe that if we can get everyone to use a little bit less of electricity, a little bit less of fuel, a little bit less of water, we will have a great impact on the environment. So again, we wanted to make software simple, sustainability simple, and easy to use, and we're gonna have discussions about this moving forward, and hopefully you'll be joining back. Thank you.